Ferrari arrived at Spa-Francorchamps this weekend, carrying more momentum than at any point in the last 18 months. 2 wins from the last 3 races. Leclerc victorious at Silverstone. Hamilton's record-breaking 106th career win at Barcelona still fresh. The championship suddenly alive again, with Hamilton just 32 points behind Antonelli at the top of the standings. Then Friday happened. A penalty before practice even started. A concerning gap in FP2. A radio war brewing between championship rivals. And Red Bull, a team people had basically written off this season, topping the timesheets in FP1 for the first time all year. Belgium has a habit of changing the narrative. This weekend already feels like it is doing exactly that. Before a single meaningful lap had been turned in practice, Ferrari's weekend already had a cloud over it. The FIA issued a fine of €10,000 after the Scuderia failed to physically return 2 sets of dry tyres to Pirelli between FP1 and FP2, despite having electronically confirmed the returns as required. The oversight was acknowledged by the team without contest. €5,000 per car, no sporting penalty attached, no grid drop involved. In the grand scheme of a race weekend budget, €10,000 is pocket change for a team operating near the $215 million cost cap. But the optics of a fine before the race has even been staged on a weekend where Ferrari is chasing consecutive wins for the first time since October 2024 is exactly the kind of distraction a team trying to build. Championship momentum does not want. Small mistakes in high-stakes moments have a way of feeding narratives that are difficult to shake. Ferrari will be hoping the tyres are the biggest problem they face this weekend. Based on what Friday showed, that optimism may be premature. FP1 at Spa produced the most surprising result of the entire 2026 season so far. Max Verstappen topped the timesheets. Not Kimi Antonelli, not a Ferrari. Verstappen, in a Red Bull that has been a mechanical disaster for most of the year, carrying an old specification rear wing after consecutive crashes at Austria and Silverstone, sitting 7th in the Drivers' Championship without a single race win, went fastest in the opening session at Spa-Francorchamps by 0.145 seconds. That number tells a very specific story about this track. Spa is dominated by long, flat-out sections and heavy downforce requirements in the middle sector. Red Bull's power unit has been rated by the FIA as the strongest on the grid in 2026, and at a circuit where Eau Rouge, Blanchimont, and the Kemmel Straight reward raw engine power more than almost anywhere else on the calendar, that advantage becomes visible in a way it does not at tighter circuits. Ferrari arrived uncertain about how their car would cope with Spa's demands, particularly across the long straights. FP1 gave them genuine encouragement. Hamilton recovered from a compromised first run to finish 0.145 seconds behind Verstappen. Leclerc was 0.207 seconds back in third. For a team that feared Spa might expose the SF26's weaknesses, being second and third in the opening session was a solid start. Kimi Antonelli took over in the second session and led the way for Mercedes, as the team usually does. But the gap that appeared underneath him told a more complicated story for Ferrari. Hamilton finished 4th, 0.747 seconds adrift of Antonelli's benchmark. Leclerc dropped all the way to 11th. The session was disrupted by red flags, which made long-run data difficult to read cleanly, but the raw pace gap to the Mercedes was bigger than Ferrari would have wanted to see on a Friday afternoon at a circuit they need to perform well at this weekend. Hamilton was measured but honest about the size of the gap when he spoke to reporters. "The deficit is bigger than we anticipated. We have work to do overnight, but I feel good in the car, and I believe we can find more. The long runs were encouraging in places." Leclerc's 11th place result in FP2 was more concerning on the surface, but comes with context. Ferrari made deliberate setup changes between sessions that moved the car away from its FP1 balance, specifically to gather data for Sunday race conditions rather than to chase session pace. Whether that data produces the performance gain they need on Saturday and Sunday is the question the team will be working through overnight. While Ferrari was processing its Friday data, a separate drama was playing out on the other side of the championship battle. Kimi Antonelli's session was interrupted twice, once by an incident involving Carlos Sainz that generated the most discussed radio clip of the entire practice day, and once by a moment that reminded everyone exactly how fine the margins are at the front of this championship right now. Antonelli was on a flying lap when Sainz moved into his path at a point where the championship leader had no expectation of traffic. The 19-year-old's frustration was immediate and unfiltered. "What an idiot!" Sainz heard about the comment and was not particularly sympathetic. His response, delivered to the media with a level of calm that made it feel even more pointed, was simple. Kimi needs to calm down. It is worth noting that Sainz was later under investigation for crossing the pit lane entry line, a separate incident from Antonelli's radio moment. The FIA noted the infringement after FP1. Neither driver is likely to face a significant penalty from Friday's events, but the exchange generated the kind of attention that makes Belgian GP weekends feel like something always simmers just below the surface. The standings entering Belgium are genuinely tight in a way they were not 3 weeks ago. Antonelli leads for Mercedes. George Russell is 25 points behind his teammate. Lewis Hamilton is 32 points back in third. One strong weekend for Hamilton win the race. Fastest lap, Antonelli struggles, and the championship lead shrinks to single digits. That kind of scenario is no longer theoretical. It happened at Silverstone, where Leclerc winning and Antonelli's early race difficulties brought Ferrari and Mercedes much closer together. Hamilton is well placed to challenge at Spa. He has won here 5 times. He knows this circuit's rhythms better than almost anyone in the field. When he found clean air in FP1 and committed properly to the soft tyre, his lap was 0.145 seconds off Verstappen, not the gap of a driver who is completely lost around here. The FP2 deficit to Antonelli is a concern, but a recoverable one if the overnight setup changes unlock what Ferrari believes is in the car. Lando Norris and Hadjar both arrive this weekend with grid penalties. Norris takes a 10-place drop from his qualifying position after McLaren introduced a new power unit component. Hadjar faces a 20-place penalty for Red Bull. Both were still fast in practice. Norris was 7th in FP1, Hadjar 4th, but penalties of that size from a competitive qualifying position effectively remove them from the podium fight on Sunday. Ferrari came to Spa with momentum, a fine, a bigger-than-expected gap in FP2, and a championship picture that makes Sunday's result feel genuinely significant for the first time in several weeks. Leclerc won at Silverstone, Hamilton won at Barcelona. Consecutive wins, something Ferrari has not achieved since October 2024, are on the table if everything goes right this weekend. What went wrong on Friday needs fixing overnight. The €10,000 tyre fine is a footnote. The 0.747 second gap to Antonelli in FP2 is not. Ferrari's engineers will work through the night to understand whether the data they gathered from Leclerc's exploratory setup changes translates into race pace on Sunday, or whether Mercedes has found something at Spa that is genuinely difficult to answer. Qualifying on Saturday will tell the real story, but one thing is already clear after Friday. Belgium is not going to be a straightforward weekend for anyone. Verstappen is back near the front. Antonelli is calling people idiots. Ferrari has a fine to explain. And the championship is tight enough that a bad day for any of the top 3 in the standings could completely reshape the title race before the summer break. Do you think Ferrari can win at Spa and make it back-to-back victories, or does Mercedes have too much pace here to be beaten? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to follow everything as qualifying and the race unfold this weekend, hit subscribe